First at 5, corruption charges against Mayor Adams dismissed. After months of legal back and forth with federal prosecutors, today a judge dismissed the case with prejudice, meaning the charges cannot be brought against Adams again.
Adams was charged with conspiracy, wire fraud, soliciting campaign contributions from a foreign national, and also bribery. Political reporter Marcia Kramer, she's been following this case from the very beginning, and she joins us now with what this means for the mayor and also the judge's criticism for the Trump's Justice Department.
Well, Christine and Jess, although Mayor Adams is clearly heaving a sigh of relief that his legal woes are over and he's free to roam about the cabin to get ready for the liftoff of his reelection campaign, there are 6 words in the judge's decision that his opponents are sure to hit on. The words are, everything here smacks of a bargain.
Let me be clear. As I've said all along, this case should have never been brought. And I did nothing wrong.
Mayor Adams, speaking after federal Judge Dale Ho gave him a get-out-of-jail-free card by agreeing to a Justice Department demand that bribery and corruption charges against him be dropped, the first criminal case brought against a sitting city mayor in modern history.
As I have repeatedly said, I have always been solely beholden to the people of this city. No special interests, no political opponents, but just everyday New Yorkers. Just you. And I'm going to continue to do that.
The mayor clearly trying to beat back charges by his political opponents that the decision smacked of a sweetheart deal with the Trump administration. But although Judge Ho said the case can never be reinstated, he threw a bone to the mayor's critics, stating in his 78-page decision, quote, everything here smacks of a bargain, dismissal of the indictment in exchange for immigration policy concessions. Adams has vehemently and repeatedly denied that there was any quid pro quo, but critics point out that he has met several times with Trump border czar Tom Homan and agreed to let federal immigration agents reopen an office on Rikers Island to help deport migrants who commit violent crimes. A Justice Department spokesperson said, quote, this case was an example of political weaponization and a waste of resources. We are focused on arresting and prosecuting terrorists while returning the Department of Justice to its core mission of keeping Americans safe. The mayor's opponents are not letting him off the hook. Eric Adams works for Donald Trump, not New Yorker, said Brad Lander. This slimy deal reeks of a quid pro quo with the Trump administration, said Zoram Mamdani.
I mean, you can read the judge's own words that these decisions were absolutely not based on the merits of the case.
What we're seeing right now is Trump and Elon Musk have their hands on justice. If we actually want true justice and accountability in New York City, we need a new mayor.
And for a man trying to insist he's not under the control of Donald Trump, there was an odd moment at the end of his speech. He held up a book by FBI Director Kash Patel about how a cabal of government officials at the highest levels plotted to overthrow Donald Trump, and he urged people to read it.
Yeah, that was an odd moment, to put it mildly. Okay, so the million-dollar question here, is Adams going to run for re-election? And if he does, what are his pluses and minuses right now?
Well, I think he's going to run, and his pluses are that he has the bully pulpit. He's the mayor. He can go to community after community with goodies that's going to please everybody. On the negative side, his poll numbers are nothing to write home to mother about. And he's had wave after wave of resignations of deputy mayors. And in fact, if you count interim police commissioner Tom Donlin, he's had 4 different people running the NYPD in 3.5 years. So he's got to convince people he can make people safe.
All right. Thank you, Marcia.
Thanks, Marcia. Joining us now live to discuss more on the judge's decision is Hofstra law professor James Sample. James, good to see you again. So you heard Marcia here saying that everything here smacks of a bargain, quoting here in the judge's ruling. Take us through what you saw reading between the lines from a law professor's point of view.
Christine, it's good to be with you, and I think Marcia's report hits the nail on the head, which is to say that Judge Ho here decided to dismiss this case, to dismiss it with prejudice, meaning it can't be filed again, but the 78-page opinion drips with disdain for the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice does not come off looking good here. When he writes everything here smacks of a bargain, dismissal of the indictment in exchange for immigration policy concessions, he's saying, in essence, that the reasons that the Department of Justice has given for the dismissal of this case are contrary to the public interest, that they're actually unsubstantiated, but that his discretion is narrowly cabined, and that thus he needs to dismiss the case, because if he were to try and order the Department of Justice to prosecute this case, they would simply refuse, and he even writes it would be futile at best, because DOJ could, and by all indications unequivocally would, simply refuse to prosecute. Those are Judge Ho's words. That is a stinging indictment of the Department of Justice, even while he says Mayor Adams gets off without any further proceedings.
And James, to your point, the DOJ's own words in its writing mentions no mention of Adams' guilt or innocence, just that they want him to be able to focus on the job of being mayor. With this outcome, what does it say about America's reputation that everyone is allegedly equal under the law?
I think it calls it into question, Jessica. I think that's a really good question, which is to say the Department of Justice put forward essentially an argument that it is unreviewable in any semblance of any respect, implying, in essence, that public officials like Mayor Adams can garner the Department of Justice's favor merely by agreeing to be compliant with the power structure as it is, or with the administration. You know, we're getting perilously close to the kind of status as a nation state where the underlying facts and the underlying law is less important than an individual defendant's relationship to power. To put that a different way, the United States has long advocated around the globe against the very type of friends with benefits crack for justice that we now seem to be embracing.
All on record now. Law professor James Sample, we appreciate your insight. Thanks for joining us.
And we have been following every step in the mayor's case since charges were first filed. You can find full coverage on our website, including today's full order from Judge Ho and a timeline of events. It's all at cbsnewyork.com.